Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We're going to tackle some tough topics, so stay tuned for that. Between now and then, some great guests and information coming your way. We'll tell you about the importance of all of us giving and making donations to Goodwill, especially this time of the year. Dave Briggs will tell us what's coming up at the High Point Theater and much more. But first, we start out talking about something festive and something to celebrate. If I didn't even know Chancellor Robinson, if I didn't know anything about Winston-Salem State University, which I did because I'm a homeboy and I know about that, I'm a Winston-Salem boy, but if I didn't, I'd be recruiting him as an industry, and we're going to find out why. Next to me, of course, our good friend, Dr. Elwood Robinson, Chancellor, Winston-Salem State University. Welcome back, sir.
It's always good to be here, Jim.
And just so people know what the heck I'm doing, I'm not spewing facts here. You guys are an industry to yourselves, and you're having a lot of impact on the community, as has been proved by a recent report from UNCF. What's the overriding thing? We'll get into specifics in a minute. But
I think the overriding part of that report would be that Winston-Salem State is making a huge impact in the Triad area. When we think about those businesses, those industries that are bringing in jobs, that are creating jobs, Winston-Salem State is one of the leading parts of our community who does that. Yeah. And we were excited to hear, and in fact, that we're having such a huge economic impact on the Triad area. We think that the study only talks about part of that. That study talks about us having a $233 million economic impact on the Triad.
Wow.
But that was just from our 2014 graduates. We have over 10,000 alums who currently live in the Triad area, who work in the Triad.
So that hasn't even been counted yet.
That hasn't even been counted. They're creating jobs every day. We think that we can estimate, almost maybe $500 million impact.
So, how many jobs? And I want to make sure the folks don't understand. We're not just talking about people employed at Winston-Salem State. We're talking about how many jobs did UNCF sort of estimate that you're helping to create around the area just by being here?
Well, I don't think that they really know how many we create. They estimate that based upon our graduates, and our graduates going out and also creating jobs, and also what we do at the university. Remember that folks sometimes forget we're a huge industry in and of ourselves. I mean, we got 5,100 students, we got over 1,100 employees, and as I said, even in the Triad area, almost 10 to 12,000 alums who every day contribute to the economic aspect of this area.
You're almost like a town to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. We think of it. One of the things I'd like to share as we're talking about this, what I've been saying now, Jim, is I've been telling our graduates that when you get a degree from Winston-Salem State University, you've increased your earning power by 68%. And that was above the state average and above the national average when getting a degree from a university.
Absolutely.
Now, this study estimated that a degree from Winston-Salem State University is worth $1.1 million. That's a story that I tell loudly.
If suppose I'm sitting here, I'm watching TV today, maybe I'm a white guy or black guy, Hispanic guy, and I'm saying, hey, my family, I don't have anybody right now going to Winston-Salem State, so why should I be concerned about what the chancellor just said?
You should be concerned because, one, education is an engine of opportunity, and everybody wants to get into the business of getting a college education. So if you come to Winston-Salem State University, you're going to increase your earning power 68% over what you would make if you did not
and your graduates
Winston-Salem State University.
Your graduates are paying taxes. They're very successful. I mean, they're out there because you've helped create those jobs. They've lowered the tax base for others. That means, maybe I'm getting better deals on police protection and fire and health services. And
I want to thank you, Jim. You just recruited so many people that's going to come to Winston-Salem State because of just what you just said.
Well, like I said, I don't make this stuff up. I mean, I grew up here. I said I'm a Winston-Salem boy, and I remember, pulling for, the Rams and everything, and I just didn't realize as a kid how much impact there was, but I do as an adult. All right, before we run out of time, give me just an overall quick statement about what kind of year 2017's been.
I think it's been an incredible year. It's a year in which we saw that we celebrated 125 years. We had so many great events, Jim, during the course of the year. I think we've elevated the status of Winston-Salem State in the minds of the Triad and of North Carolina because of the great things that we're doing.
Well, my mind needs elevating, which I think you said that off camera one time, but in a different way. Up on screen, wssu.edu. Please check that out. And Chancellor, you have done so much to boost this university and the economy of the area. We thank you for all of that.
Thank you so much, Jim. Happy holidays, my friend.
Same to you.
All right.
Say hello to your wife for me.
I will.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and I'm glad that you folks could be with us for this segment because it's very important. We're going to talk about road safety, but a very specific kind of road safety. With me, two very special guests. Next to me on my right, Dre Flory is Chief Legal Officer, among other things, wears many hats for Columbia Roberts Attorneys at Law. And Michael Hosey is a special guest today. He's Director of Community Engagement and Youth Programs for the National Cycling Center. Welcome, guys. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You see this monstrosity in front of us. I'm not calling you a monstrosity. I'm calling this. It's actually flipped upside down. We put it here so it'll rest easy, but you'll see some footage of it in a second. But it's a device that really needs to be on every tractor trailer, and I'm going to ask Dre why. Why are these guards necessary?
So these tractor trailer side underride guards are devices that help prevent crashes from cars going up under trailers and also cyclists and pedestrians from getting run over by the back wheels of trailers.
What people would commonly call in a common vernacular a T-bone accident, where you're coming to an intersection or something, there's a big tractor trailer like this, and the bicycle, motorcycle, cyclist would get there and then slide under there or get fatally injured or whatever.
That's one of the most common ways in higher speed settings, but cities have a unique interest in this because as trailers navigate city streets, if they make a right turn or a left turn, the tractor can make the turn just fine, but if you've ever seen tractors, they really swide.
Yeah, they swerve around. Yeah,
they swerve around, and then that trailer can go over the curb, which can run over a cyclist or a pedestrian, and there's nothing to block the person from going up under the rear wheels.
I think I know the answer to this question, but why did you guys at Columbia Roberts get interested in trying to do something about this?
Well, unfortunately, we've interacted with many families who've lost loved ones from this exact event, and also had a lot of clients who were injured, sometimes catastrophically, sometimes really bad brain trauma, and orthopedic injuries that require years of care.
So these guards that go under and on the side of the tractor trailers, they're not required in all 50 states?
They're not. Some cities have implemented city ordinances to require these, and that's really what our push is to bring the cities of North Carolina up to speed and become aware of this problem so they can do things progressively to help ensure that tractor trailers going forward have these on them.
Michael, I know your organization is big on safety, whether it's helmets or just observing various laws and regulations. So how does this sort of fit in? I know you're sort of here to support what Dre's doing today. How does what Columbia Roberts do fit in with your mission?
Well, we're just certainly trying to keep people safe out there on the roads, and our mission is to get more folks on bikes, and we're certainly trying to get a push for for physical activities. But when you're out there riding on the road, it's just extremely important to be safe, and this is one way that cyclists can be a little bit safer out there on the road.
Because you guys tell your members too, I'm assuming, about defensive riding, right? I mean, and watching out for things too.
Absolutely. I mean, there's the rules of the road that a bicycle is a vehicle, and when you're out there on the road, it's it's important for drivers to know that cyclists have the right to be on the road, but it's also very important for cyclists to know how to make yourself highly visible and to know kind of where to be and what the things to look out for.
Well, Dre, I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anything specific that Columbia Roberts is trying to do or advocate for to try to get more cities to do the ordinances or to get more truck companies to do this?
Yeah, really, the first step is awareness. Cities can implement ordinances a number of ways. One is they can say all trucks purchased by the city by the year 2020 or something will have these on them. Another is to say all contractors who do business with the city must have these on by some time in the future. The main thing is not to make some burden where everyone has to retrofit these things tomorrow,
right,
but it's just to be forward thinking and understand that this is a need.
It is. Up on screen, if you want more information, CrumleyRoberts.com is a website there. And also, if you want to find out more about Michael's organization, you go to www.usncc.org. Also up on screen is the link to a petition, which I hope you'll sign, that would require trucks to be equipped with this safety device. Let's get you back sometime to talk about your organization.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And thanks for supporting this effort, too. Thank you, Dre.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Triad Today, glad you could be with us and stay with us. And we're always glad when this gentleman gets here, and especially at this time of the year. On my right is our good friend Dana Conte, who's Director of Donation Services for Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Great to be here.
I hear this is what they call in the business a setup question, because I think I know what the answer is. I hear this is a busy time of year for Goodwill, and so the question is, how so?
God, I've never heard that before.
No,
That's
I know
a great
you haven't.
question.
I know, it's a new question.
I'm kidding. Yeah, it is a busy time of year, and it's the holiday season. And kind of maybe to speak off script a little bit, being at the holiday season, it's always centered around giving. And I think the greatest gift that we could give is trust, right? I think that's the greatest gift you can give someone. And I bring that full circle to say that Goodwill is such an iconic brand, it's an international recognizable symbol, and so many people graciously come and donate to us and give to us, especially this time of year. But it's important, I think, that people can trust that brand.
Yeah.
And particularly this time of year, where there's so many, you hear so many stories of how organizations don't necessarily take care of the donations like they should.
But you guys do it and have a great track record.
Yeah.
I want to just say something too, and Dana didn't ask me to say this, but I think it's important to put in perspective. As we're asking you during this segment, and especially during the holidays, to go and donate items to the where you can drop off things. The reason we do that is because those items are then taken to the Goodwill retail stores. They're sold in those retail stores. The proceeds go right to helping workforce development and doing all sorts of job training programs that puts people back to work, increases the tax base, makes it better for all of us. So there's a reason for making these donations. Now, what I want to do is go down. I want to prompt you with a couple of things, and you tell me what I'm asking about, because you sent me an email with 3 or 4 things on it, the kind of programs and options that other folks, when people make donations, they can do it in different ways. There's something called Good Moves. What is that?
Good Moves, in short, we place a container, 8 foot by 8 foot, 16 foot container. You'll see pack rat, pods, those type of containers in people's driveways. So in the time, if they're downsizing or moving, it's a convenient way they can, at any time, at their convenience, they can just donate to their driveway.
See, I didn't know that. All right, now there's one that you sent me that you said something called home pickups. I'm assuming I know what that is, but is there a restriction on it, or what do you mean?
Yeah, so we offer, again, convenience driven, where we just make home pickups. We have 2 guys in the truck. You make a call to the Goodwill. We'll coordinate a day and time within a 2, 3, 4 day time period, or certainly when it's convenient for you. We'll come, 2 guys, pick up the.
But I mean, does it need to be something like a bed or a big vanity or something like that? If you guys are going to come out and do a pickup?
Yeah, fair question. We certainly want it to be cost effective. Again, back to that trust thing. We got to be trustworthy to manage our resources. And in doing so, yes, we do ask usually a 2 large item pickup to be associated with clothes,
Gotcha.
housewares, kitchenwares.
You guys do a good job, because I've used that service. Corporate donations.
Yeah.
What about
so
corporate?
we partner with businesses and corporations throughout the community, just like we try with the residential pickup. So company needs a pickup, we come get it.
And also the final thing is people that do donation drives. What kind of groups do those, and are they easy to do?
They are very easy. We make it easy for them. And again, in short, just contact us. We'll line it up. We have all kinds of different programs that can not just benefit Goodwill and the recipients of our donations, but back to the organization who is partnering with us. We try to make it a mutual partnership.
I want to take a little bit more time with the graphic on screen here, because, and we normally give it to you anyway, but on screen is www.goodwillnwnc, which stands for Northwest North Carolina, nwnc.org. I'm going to say it again for the radio listening audience, WSJS and their affiliates. Goodwillnwnc.org. And the reason I want to take an extra couple seconds on this, Dana, is because you can click to a specific section, right, on this to get.
Correct. Are you asking about donations?
Yeah.
So we break it down as a drop-down tool on the website, where it kind of lays it out for you, and the visitor of the website can click to their whatever accordingly what they're looking for.
And then they can get in touch with you, whether
Absolutely.
it's a home pickup, or there's a phone number, or if they want to do something for the school or the church or whatever.
Absolutely. Just get a hold of me, and I can coordinate all that.
All right, Eddie Conte, thanks for all you do.
Hey, thank you. We really appreciate your partnership.
All right,
Thanks,
pal.
Jim.
We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, we always like to get this gentleman here with us because he's such a festive guy, which is appropriate for this season. Next to me, of course, our good friend, Dave Briggs, director of High Point Theater. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Jim.
Before we get going on theater type things, you've talked about it before on the program, because you're a real proponent of economic development and the whole thing. And we're very happy now that the $38 million bond package has been approved to try to make the High Point multi-use stadium go.
Exactly. Actually, I think it's 36 million, and then the city's going to add some more dollars to that. And then we've got this amazing group of nonprofit leaders who are going to put together some some additional funding for the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're very excited that process is underway. They've started knocking down buildings. It truly will be a catalyst project for all of the city of High Point.
For everybody, yeah.
absolutely.
And it'll have a great, I think, a boost for the theater as well.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about some of the events you have coming up in
got it.
December. I'm going to list some things, and you go and tell me something about them.
I'll try.
There are actually 2 listings of the Nutcracker, and one, you tell me what the differences are. There's a Nutcracker, and then there's a Nutcracker with Land of the Sweets. What are we talking about?
Sure. A Nutcracker, we've got a performance of the Nutcracker today at 2 o'clock and this evening at 7:30 and then tomorrow at 2. That's if you're watching the Saturday program. And that features the dancers from the Dance Center of Greensboro, and that's a dance school based in Greensboro. It's a beautiful show. They do a lovely job.
But they're coming in using the High Point Theater because it's such a great place to
That's
perform.
exactly right.
All right.
And then 2 weeks later, we have the High Point Ballet, which is our professional ballet company based in High Point. And they'll be doing a couple of productions of the full Nutcracker with amazing scenery and beautiful costumes. And then they do what's called Land of the Sweets, which is the second act of the Nutcracker. So if you want to introduce an introduction to ballet or bring your small children to it, it's beautiful and beautiful.
My wife
done.
thinks of me as a small child, so she
Yes.
might bring me.
Well, maybe that's where you should go.
The somewhere in between the 2 Nutcracker productions, I think, is A Christmas Carol.
That's right. High Point Community Theater has sort of revived bringing in the Christmas Carol in. This will be their 3rd season doing so. We're really pleased. It's the musical version of A Christmas Carol, and it takes place the 14th through the 17th
Right.
of
Several
December.
days you can go to that.
Yeah, you sure can.
There's a winter showcase. Now, is that just sort of an umbrella for a lot of things going on, or is that a separate thing
No,
itself?
that is a separate thing. That is another dance school in Greensboro that is having, they put together, it's not just dance, it's also some singers and some instrumentalists and so on.
Cool.
But that's really fun. It's a nice rental for us.
You have something called Musical Thrones.
Oh
Is that
my
like
God.
Game of Thrones?
Musical Thrones is a parody on the Game of Thrones.
Right.
If you are at all interested in the Game of Thrones, you're going to want to see this. I mean, there's deceit, there's sex, there's dragons. What more can you ask for?
Well, I'm not old enough to know about dragons, but the other things. Now, John Sebastian coming up, right?
John Sebastian and David Grisman together.
Wow.
So John Sebastian is a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. He was one of the founding members of the Lovin' Spoonful.
Right.
Drop the G. And David Grisman has played with literally everybody. The Grateful Dead to you name it.
So much going
And
on.
he's done great
Al
stuff.
Stewart coming?
Al Stewart's doing his, it's the 40th anniversary of the Year of the Cat album, and his backup band is remarkable, and they've been nominated for a Grammy on their own.
Wow.
So really
And then
exciting.
there's something you told me about with American Spiritual Ensemble.
The American Spiritual Ensemble are 12 of the finest voices you will ever hear. And this is a group that sings mostly a cappella, but with some accompaniment. And they are keeping the American spiritual alive. And I got to tell you, every time they open their mouth, my skin raises.
Yeah.
I get gooseflesh.
some
They
good
are
music.
just remarkable.
It is. Before time runs out, there's so many things we want to plug and we can't get to it all, but I'm guessing that you have a good suggestion for us on what people can give as a holiday gift.
Oh man, I tell you what, tickets make the perfect stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
They don't take a lot of space, they don't cost a lot of money, and people enjoy them. And if you don't want to get a ticket to an individual show, get a gift certificate.
Oh, yeah.
Bring folks to the High Point Theater.
Please do that. Up on screen, as Dave was saying, that highpointtheater.com, 887-3001 is the box office number. Happy holidays, sir.
You back at
To
you, my
you and
friend.
Elizabeth.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. Triad Today has been on the air for nearly 15 years, and for many of those years, our show was directed by Jay Paul, who was also longtime production manager at ABC 45 and My 48. I'm saddened to report that our friend Jay passed away last Friday. Jay loved the television industry, as did his father before him. TV was in his DNA, and perhaps his greatest legacy is that he was a good judge of talent, which was never more evident than when he hired his successor, our wonderful director, Laurie Bates. Jay was also a loving father who valued his family, and he was a valued member of our Triad Today family. Jay Paul was 70 years old. Sad news. Oh,
Yeah.
you went to school with Jay?
Jay and I were classmates at East Carolina.
East Carolina.
Yeah,
He'll be
been
missed.
knowing him for
But Jay loved the round table. So let's get to it. On my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman is with us, and that beautiful, lovely, really she's a taskmaster too, Ursula Dudley Oglesby, who is president and CEO of Dudley Beauty Products, Dudley Beauty Corp. And she's also an attorney, and Ogie, I don't know if you know this, but she's agreed to represent me if Keith ever sues me. Did you know that?
Put her on retainer.
Yeah, she is. I've got her on retainer. And then, of course, next to Ursula is Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants, now working on a nationwide program to get people registered to vote, which is great. Now, I want to start on a serious topic and spend several minutes on this sexual harassment thing, not because we're going to name names and be specific, but it's now gone from Hollywood to Washington. And here's the question. We now know that congressmen are using taxpayer dollars to settle with female employees who they sexually harassed or assaulted. Two questions, guys and gals. Should a list of those payouts be made public? And should we make such payments illegal going forward? Ogie.
You know, that just infuriates me, Jim, that the taxpayer is actually paying.
And we never knew about it.
Never knew about it. And that's got to be stopped, period. End of story. Ended.
And we should know who they are, too,
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Ursula, what do you think?
Yes, on both sides, because that's ridiculous that taxpayers would have to pay for the misdeeds of the individual congressperson. We need to have a list to know who they are, what the amounts are, and it's got to stop.
Well, you feel bad for the women. It's not their fault that they're being given this money that's taxpayer-based, but at the same time, it's like the congressmen think, well, we'll just, nobody will ever know. We're just going to write a check out of our fund from the office. And
yeah, we don't have to have the women's names. We just need to know the amount of the payouts and who's paying it out.
Right. Keith.
Yeah, I think if they're doing it out of their own pocket, but the taxpayer doing it, I think it's wrong.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Conyers. There were several that have come out since then. Some of them a lot more, $80,000 payout. Now, here's a difficult one, and I wanted to wait and do this until Ursula was here because she's not only a CEO and has many employees, but is a woman, is an attorney, and knows a lot of things. So I want to do this question. And it's about the fact that I think guys my age, maybe even younger, people in their 60s, 50s, don't know what the rules of the game anymore, don't know what the rules of the workplace are, perhaps. Now, those of us who have a brain know there's certain things you shouldn't do. But some of us are touchers. Some of us like to say, hey, Ogie, how's it going? Ursula, how's it going? So here's my question. How do we know what's okay anymore? Ogie.
I've thought a lot. As I alluded last week, Jim, I'm a hugger. I mean, it's in my family blood. And I think we know inherently where that invisible line is. If I'm hugging a woman, I know where her waist ends and her butt begins.
Yeah.
We know that. I mean, if we're doing it, it's intentional.
And use
we
some
know
sense.
we're doing it.
Ursula, what's the line that you don't cross? A man who's one of your employees, a lady comes to you and says, Miss Oglesby, something's going on here. I mean, where's the line?
Well, I think that it's important oftentimes for the man to know where the line is, but also for the woman to express that wasn't comfortable, I don't like to be hugged, I don't like to be touched, or whatever the case may be. So I think that there has to be open communication on both sides. I'm a hugger as well. I hug men, I hug women, and if somebody doesn't want to be hugged, they put their hand out. And so then that's my signal to know they don't want to be hugged, shake my hand instead. And then I'm good with that.
All right, Keith.
Well, I think it's a problem here because a lot of times people are guilty before all the evidence comes out. I think men and women, there should be guidelines around what you can and can't do. Women are flirts, men are flirts, but you know when you're going over the top, and women know when they're being too flirtatious. And I think there has to be a line in the sand, and we can't assume that somebody's guilty just because somebody has accused them.
And if you don't know, you need to be fired.
Absolutely.
All right, in a related story, though, this is weird. Melania Trump is being criticized for hanging mistletoe in the White House because critics say that she's promoting unwanted kissing. Do the critics have a valid point, or are they being ridiculous?
No, yeah, that's what we were talking last week about. There's a point where we could be overreacting. I mean, that to me is an overreaction, and the only unwanted kissing is probably when Trump tries to kiss her.
Ursula.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. There's no mandate that you see mistletoe and you have to kiss. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Keith.
I couldn't have said it better than Ogie. I mean, I don't have anything else to say,
Well,
but mistletoes, I mean, They don't have anything to do if they're discussing mistletoe.
There's more to
in
worry
the
about.
White House.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
saw Keith and Ogie under the mistletoe. Anyway,
No, run.
quick thing. How much time we have, Brian? Okay. Finally, a white man in Minnesota now says he identifies as a Filipino man. This is reminiscent of the white woman in Washington State who posed as a black woman so she could run the local NAACP chapter. Guys and gals, very quickly, are these people crazy? And if you could identify with someone else, who would it be? Ogie?
I really don't understand that at all. I just don't get if there's some kind of underlying psychological motive or some real motive.
Who
But
would you be?
I would, you know what, who I like really, I've decided I like Prince Harry a lot.
Prince
I
Harry?
like that guy.
Who would
Yeah,
you
man.
identify?
He's my guy.
Oh, Ursula, who would
wanna
you
be a
identify
prince.
with?
I think they've got mental issues, but I guess if I really wanted to be someone, it would have to be, I'd like to be Oprah. I wouldn't mind
Would you
being
like to be
Oprah.
Oprah?
Yes.
That's funny. Keith
Yeah.
said that same thing.
I did not.
Keith, who do you want to identify with?
Batman.
Not bad.
Oh, man. All right, lots of weird stuff going on here, and that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. It's just been reported that the White House is overrun with mice, so exterminators were immediately instructed to, quote, get rid of every pest in the building. Okay, so the exterminator, but what about the mice? And for all of us here, for Oprah and Batman and Prince Harry, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.